Hello, folks. I'm going to be coming on in just a minute. Today I'm drawing another Donald Trump cartoon. Um, so hope you will join me and start in just a couple of minutes. Thank you, folks. Okay, I'm going to get started here. Thanks for joining me, folks. I have some different settings on the stream today, so I'm hoping to avoid um, lost frames and spinning wheels and long time lag. It looks like the time lag is about 30 seconds right now, so let's hope that holds up. Um, so, today I'm going to do another Trump cartoon. And this is one that I was thinking about doing yesterday as I was finishing up the last Trump cartoon. I should note today there's no stream to YouTube. That's one of the things I'm trying. I'm just doing stream to Twitch today. So hopefully, hello, Ginger and Juice. Hopefully this stream will work better, and let me know how it's working for you. I appreciate it. And maybe today we'll have fewer tech problems, a little more chat, and that'll make things a little more fun. So, the gag today I will lay out is so this is going to be what the doggy hears cartoon. It's too big. Has to be smaller. So, it's an angry doggy. An angry master. Ah, Ginger and Juice. Yes, you got in right at the beginning on this one. No having to go back to the replay. So this I'm not liking that either. When you come in at the beginning, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. So I'm going to trash that two-panel idea. I'm going to go for one big panel. Thought about doing this as the RCA Victor logo. Maybe I'll do that as well. And if you're dropping in for the first time, please do... Oh, the stream is looking good today. I think I may have just solved my problems by not trying to send it to YouTube at the same time. I'm not seeing spinning things or slow dropped frames or anything. It's kind of looking good. Let me know if you're having the same experience. Okay. This will be... Doggy hears. What the doggy hears. Vote for Trump. Hey, stream looks great. I guess I've got this. The solution to this is just to give up on YouTube. So I'll use the Twitch tool for moving it over to YouTube when I'm done here. I wasn't getting people to chat on YouTube anyway. Hyper writes, do you think you would be as good of an artist if you were right-handed? Yeah, drawing comes out of your brain. So, you know, I've heard of cartoonists who lose the use of their main hand and they just learn to draw with the other hand because it's all in your head. So, I don't think it makes much difference. You can kind of see through my water glass, huh? Which is Master says... what the doggy hears over here. Give him room for a speech balloon here, which is don't vote for Trump. I figured this all out as I see it visually. It's not entirely in my head before I start. And then what the doggy hears. Hyper writes, I feel like I can make a left side of a circle perfect, but a right side I suck at since I'm right-handed. Well, the trick to that is you turn your paper around. One hand or the other. Doggy hears. Come down a little skosh. You know, I get lots of comments from right-handed people about how crazy it is to be left-handed. I don't get comments from left-handed people saying anything about being left-handed because it just doesn't make much difference. What his master says, I could put this on one line and have it go across like that. Maybe that's better. Well, it's so nice to have solved this streaming problem and see that it is just a matter of YouTube. I can give up YouTube. Do I need to turn up my contrast? Is this looking a little dark? It is. I'm still trying to figure everything out here. That's a little better. Well, I tell you, Hyper doesn't like to turn the paper when he draws. I am quite the paper turner. So what to do with this hand? I think he might want to be making a point with this hand. Making a point with both hands. They're both angry. Republicans are so angry. Oh, I can do fun things with their trunks interlocking into composition. Hadn't thought about that. I'm usually drawing one elephant. Bottom teeth showing in the mouth is funnier than top teeth showing. Okay, here's little elephant. His mouth is closed because he's just got a thought balloon going on. I'm going to give him a doggy collar. I'll think a little more about whether I want to give him a doggy collar. Maybe both arms pointing down like this is kind of funny. That's the kind of hand gesture you often do with a dog on the floor, you know? No poop here. Oh, his legs. One thing to consider when you have his weight thrown forward, like the arms here. Now, he's an establishment Republican. What can I do to make him more establishment? Maybe he needs a cigar. Cigar, huh? him through. So let's say his hips are back here. I'm going to try to give him some sense of balance, that there's really some weight going on. And we'll give him some shoes. This is also the first time I've tried using this Twitch to send a tweet out to my Twitter followers that I'm starting to do a drawing. So if you happen to come because you saw the note on Twitch, please let me know that you saw it on saw my Twitch generated tweet and that brought you here. I'd like to know that. Ginger Juice writes, cigar and a blue collar. Well, these are the rich establishment Republicans. And it's this little doggy down here that's the blue collar. But I think I'm making him naked. Because he's a doggy. Well, if I raise his trunk up a little bit, wind it back maybe, I might find room for a cigar. Do I want the cigar then? Oh, white collar. Yes, white collar. He's just a rich establishment Republican. Symbol of rich establishment Republicans. That's why he's wearing a suit. And the little elephant is, who's being directed, is being naked. Not sure the cigar is working in the drawing. So I may just lose the cigar. I think the cigar may be a goner. And the nose needs to curl up, doesn't it? Elephant's nose naturally wants to curl up. Rid of the keyboard. Hey, more of you folks should say something. And follow. If you haven't followed, I need the follows. Give me some follows. I'm going to give him a little bit of corporate hair here. Another ear on that side. See if I'm happy with that. I think I'm kind of happy with this two hands pointing down. This will be what his master says. I'm going to reverse out the what say boxes. I'm gonna kill the cigar, that's the kill sign. make sure they are making eye contact. Piper writes, do you think that since politicians want to raise taxes for the rich, it will be even harder for lower classes to become like the new Bill Gates? No. Bill Gates doesn't pay high taxes. Bill Gates gathered his biggest ever fortune by holding stock, not being well diversified in his investments, and never cashing out the stock so that it's never taxable and he hasn't ever taken the capital gain. Amassing a vast fortune is all about not being taxed and not paying capital gains because you haven't liquidated. And so the tax rates are only about taxing labor, not taxing vast fortunes. So I think it will have no effect. Raising taxes on the rich, raising taxes on their earned income does not have much effect on the rich. Until America taxes real wealth, all this talk about tax rates is just a bunch of nonsense. And it is also, the rich in America are also proof of the fact that the way to become rich in America is a lack of diversification. Just the opposite advice you give to a small investor. I'm going to give this guy real elephant anatomy. He's going to have real elephant feet, real elephant paws, because he's a little more of a less evolved than the Hyperite's lack of diversification is more of a gamble, though. Yes, and it is poor investment advice for the small investor who needs the safety of diversification. That said, when you look at the rich, they are testaments to a lack of diversification. I'm not sure that collar is working for him. You know, turned up paw on the cheek, another paw around this way. Maybe that's kind of funny. Let's see how that looks. Not sure I like that. One thing I've noticed here, I'm the political cartoonist. I'm the only political cartoonist doing these live streams. And I thought we'd have lots of discussions of politics on here. My son, who uses Twitch all the time, tells me that it's considered rude on Twitch to talk about politics. What madness, this. Rude. I'm gonna give him a regular standing pose because I'm having trouble with his little bit of elephant anatomy. Kevin Host BC writes, you draw cool. That's very nice of you, Kevin Host. If you would please come follow me, I would very much appreciate it. Alright, there's his elephant body. What he needs is to have an elephant anatomy, even though elephants have the longest legs in the animal world, even longer than giraffes. To draw them appropriately to get the character of an elephant, which is a stubby, I need to draw shorter legs. Doesn't look right with the extra long legs, even though elephants really do have extra long legs. But I think I needed to make him standing up here. Otherwise he's not making much sense. Now do I want a collar on him? Now is the collar making sense? Ginger and Juice writes, yeah, people typically get flamed when they bring up politics in chat. Kevin Host BC writes, elephants? I follow you now. You don't see it. Oh, you followed me. Thank you, Kevin Host BC. That's very nice of you. You should have gotten the little dancing zombie. But you know, I tend to look down at my paper and not... I look up every so often at the chat, but sometimes I miss the dancing zombie. Let's see, that leg needs to jump out a bit. I needed to lower his legs that were closer to us. Well, it's nice to have everything working today. Oh, you got the zombie. Very good. I like the little zombie. That's just the default. That was my only choice. I could have, I suppose, made my own, but I kind of like the zombie. He's cute. The default is zombie. Tiny Wampa. The more I think about it, the more I want Trump to win. I have never seen a president be assassinated. You think Trump is a likely assassination candidate? I think not. You know, we heard a lot of that talk when Obama was elected. People, particularly the Europeans, they were sure Obama was going to be assassinated because it fits with the American preconceived notions of America as a racist society. People have around the world have these I would call them prejudiced notions about America that color their beliefs. Americans as greedy and in control of everything. And there was so much talk about how Obama was sure to be assassinated just because America is racist and he's black, and look at the history and Martin Luther King. And so I reject such talk, and I think it's something that comes about every cycle as just part of that preconceived, prejudiced notion of what Americans are like around the world. Not surprised you keep hearing it. I certainly see a difference in the polemics among the international editorial cartoonists and the American editorial cartoonists. The international cartoonists are pulling out all the stops on the most powerful metaphors they can come up with. Lots of Trump as Hitler, lots of Trump as scatological references, genitals coming out of asses, any kind of reference to KKK and Hitler and whatever their strongest metaphors are, because I think pundits and cartoonists as well are frustrated that they're not having the control over opinion that they think they deserve. We have a punditocracy of narcissists that demand to be important. Here I say, as I'm an editorial cartoonist, one of the most narcissistic of the pundits. Narcissistic category of pundits. Editorial cartoonists have some hefty egos. Hyper writes, that's why Colin Powell didn't want to run for president. He was positive the next black president would be assassinated. What is scatological? Poop? Yes, I see poop references. One of my favorite cartoonists, Taylor Jones, drew Trump hair on Trump's penis. We have Trump bursting out of assholes. I'm going to have to up the maturity rating on my stream here. Okay, so what his master says, ellipses, don't vote for Trump. I think I need that to be there. And then what the doggy hears, vote for Trump. Now, do I want him to have color? Tiny Wampa writes, Daryl, I always wonder how people do this in such a fast time period. I tried to draw a tree the other day, and I got so mad I had to microwave my hamster to calm down. Tiny Wampa, you're pretty scary. You know, I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm much younger than I look. I mean, yeah. Well, perhaps I look much younger than I am. Baird Wards writes, Daryl, your besuited elephant and naked dog elephant make me think of the goofy Pluto conundrum in a good way. Yes, that is a conundrum. Both Goofy and Pluto are dogs, but Goofy is a human dog and Pluto is a dog. And their faces are very much similar. That is indeed a conundrum. How do you exist in that universe as a dog when a dog is also a person in that universe? But I have my own universe, and in my universe, elephants can have human hands and human feet and wear a suit, and they can also be actual elephants with stubby legs. So, we're all responsible for our own universes, huh? His feet need to come down to here. Note to self. This is how I do note to self. So nice to have the stream working today and have chat working. Yesterday chat just wasn't working because I was like 4 minutes of lag, and now I think I've got about 30 seconds of lag. What do you think? 30 seconds of lag? All right, we'll write my signature will be over here. And where do I want to put politicalcartoons.com? I think I'll put it down here. Well, now I'm going to have his feet down there. I don't want to put it here in the middle because there's too much attention there. Tiny Wampa. I think I need to. It's the left side of this goes down there, so. Not sure that's fitting. I'll deal with it later. Alright, I'm happy with his eyes. I'm not happy with his eyes. I'm going to come back and fix that before I start doing my final drawing. Note that the table is not level. I need to remember to make sure that they're looking at each other. Sometimes I forget that as I'm drawing. I think he's probably going to have a pinstripe suit. Okay. And this is reverse. This is reverse. I think I'm ready to do my drawing. Excuse me whilst I stand up. Fingerprints on my film already. Yes, I do look much younger than I actually am. But I realize that I am not at all the demographic for Twitch. I'm a little old man on Twitch. Big old man. Big old man. So, Tiny Wampa, what is my time lag? You get a good test. I think your comment on the screen shows up just a few seconds after your comment shows up for me in the window. 18 seconds. That's not bad. That's about the best I've ever gotten. That's because I'm not restreaming to YouTube today, I think. I think the restream process was getting me screwed over. Alright, my pencils. Pencils go over here. The pencils are over here, and then over here on my right, I've got my little piece of sandpaper taped to the tabletop. I'm gonna need my reading glasses. Yeah, I didn't expect that to slow it as much as it did, and it created. I was using Restream.io, and I found that was also interrupting the stream with lots of spinning wheel. So I'm done with it. No more Restream. Restream. More trouble than it's worth, considering I wasn't getting the comments on YouTube. Okay. Let the doggy here. See, always draw the lettering before you draw. Jeez. Everything here is dirty. Well, I should say smudgy. Pencil smudge everywhere. Yeah, too bad. Restream is such a nice concept. I was thinking about adding a couple other things, but I don't think it works. At least it doesn't work for me. This is a pretty goofy cartoon, and my lettering here is on the goofy side. Tiny Wampa writes, how did you come aware of and decide to stream on Twitch? Well, I tell you, for quite some time, my tech guru Theo, who makes all things tech work here at Cable Cartoons, was thinking that I should do some kind of video. And then last October, Twitch started doing their creative community, and YouTube came up with their streaming service, which was beta until I guess very recently, like in the last month. So there wasn't really a place for it. We would have had to make a place for it on Kaggle.com. But the Twitch creative community is really very nice, and what I would like to see is all my own favorite cartoonists. I'd like to see them all streaming. I would love to have a little window open on my desktop where I take a look at the drawing tables of all my favorite cartoonists. Now, seeing as I'm the only editorial cartoonist trying this so far, and it is still a pretty new concept, I feel like I have the burden of proof of concept on my shoulders. I don't think other editorial cartoonists are going to look at this if Daryl doesn't build a good audience and say, I want to do that too. Because their motivation simply is my editor going to value this such that I get paid more for it, or I'm more likely to not lose my job? And it's going to take a good size argument to convince them. Cartoonists basically want to sit in their cubicle and draw their cartoon, and all these entreaties from the journalism bosses about do a blog, shoot videos, do more that we don't pay you more for. These are not taken kindly. Ginger and Juice writes, are your cartoonist friends aware of your channel? Oh, they should be. I have, if you go to Kaggle.com, which is our main people come look at cartoons site, you will see that there's a pop-up window with my Twitch stream in it, which is kind of nice. So everybody that goes to Kaggle.com is going to have to be aware that I'm streaming now. And as I look at it, the Twitch window on Kaggle.com is looking pretty nice. And I have put it in the newsletter. We have a daily email newsletter. But what I have found so far is that the Kaggle.com visitors are not video watchers. They want to scroll through cartoons, stop by real quick and look at their favorite cartoonist, look at a topic that interests them. But I do not turn them over into viewers of the stream, and I find that the viewers of the stream tend to be the people that like to view streams in Twitch and are not the people who visit Kaggle.com, and they're certainly not my editors. And I've only seen a couple of cartoonists show up in the stream here. Tiny Wampa writes, have you ever considered putting some light music in the background when streaming? Oh, well, this is a matter of controversy. I note all of these nice little gizmos for putting music in your stream, and I even get junk mail. Put music in your stream, use our app. It's so easy. We'll show all the information from your Spotify playlist of who's making the music. But my vision of this is I would like to have windows open on different people's desktops. I like to hear the person who is drawing talk about his drawing. I want them to, like I'm trying to do, develop this odd skill of letting words flow out of my brain continuously while I draw. I think you want to hear from the artist, huh? And it is not natural to talk like this while you draw. And I've found that it's an acquired skill that I'm still working on acquiring. But if an artist is playing music on his Twitch stream, I will turn the sound off. In fact, in the old days, before I was streaming, the old days, I did not listen to music while I drew. I would have CNN or Fox News or MSNBC on in the background with the talking heads talking all the time. That's what editorial cartoonists should do, although I know most of them listen to music. But I find that when I'm not listening to the talking heads all day as I'm doing my drawing, I lose that much opportunity for cartoon ideas that I'm not thinking of because I'm not getting incensed by those Fox News pundits. Ginger and Juice. Bearded and Tiny don't like music as well. That's good. Ginger and Juice writes, what about drawing something for a viewer, like having a contest at 500 or 1K followers? Having a title regarding a contest draws viewers to your channel, supposedly. Contest. Well, I haven't put much thought into that. My plan for gathering viewers was put this up as a pop-up window on Kaggle.com and watch your regular fans come watch you draw. And I've been surprised that my regular fans are not interested in watching me draw. They want to spend 3 seconds looking at my cartoon and then flip to the next page. That is the nature of my fans. What the doggy hears. People love personalized giveaways. Well, I have thought about doing that. We've had kind of an existential crisis on Kaggle.com because of all the hacker attacks. We get hacker attacks on the nature of the hackers are like state actors. And it's not something that a normal little site would get, something like a government or a grand corporate site like Sony would get. And so it's been a big expense for us, and we have to, buy all these extra services and tech people time in order to deal with the changing hacker attacks. They change their strategy every time we put up a new defense. And so we had a crowdfunding campaign on Kaggle.com. We call it Heroes, and it's still there, kaggle.com/heroes, where we raised some money to help defray the cost of the hacker attacks. And also, I'm dropping the advertising on Kaggle.com because I don't want to deal with the advertisers. I hate the advertising. And we've started getting emails from Google objecting to particular cartoons on the site, demanding that Google AdSense not run on the page with this content or any similar content. And we don't have an easy way of taking ads down from particular pages, and certainly not multiple requests of different cartoons. I would be fine with taking their ads down if it was easy to do, but I'm certainly not going to take a cartoon down because of an advertiser's objection. And the idea that advertisers would come to a journalism site and object to cartoons and expect us to make editorial changes based on the advertiser's objection is just outrageous. So Kaggle.com will soon be without advertising, and I'm going to do another plea for support because the site's so expensive to host with all the firewalls and DNS service and stuff we have to suffer that other sites don't have to suffer. The mitigation wall. My tech wizard Theo wants me to not discuss the particular things that we do to mitigate the hacker attacks. Ginger Juice writes, why would people hack your site? Cartoons making them angry? Well, you know, editorial cartoons make people riot in the streets and kill each other. My friends get murdered. It's a dangerous world for editorial cartoonists, and despots tend to not have a sense of humor. So we found that our hacker attacks started just about 2 weeks before the Charlie Hebdo attacks, and all the news then was the North Korean attacks on Sony. And at that time, our site was all full of Kim Jong-un because of the Sony attacks, which makes me think that those initial attacks were due to Kim Jong-un. And then when the Charlie Hebdo attacks and murders happened, there was a big boost in hacker attacks on institutional editorial cartooning sites around the world, the cartoon museums in Europe and such. And I think we were caught up in that as well, so we had a couple of motivators. And I have heard from my friends in the Iranian diaspora community, you know, our site is blocked by the government of Iran in Iran, that the Iranian government pays particular attention to our site and has been active in hacking sites they don't like, and my diaspora folks thinks that the Iranian government is blocking the site as well, is hacking the site as well as blocking it to the people within Iran, which sounds likely because we have certainly posted a lot of anti-Iran regime cartoons, which I'm sure they don't like. And you know, one cartoonist friend of mine who is on the site was jailed by Iran for his cartoons, and he was fortunate to escape from Iran. So my guesses at who's doing it are North Korea and Iran, and perhaps some Islamic group that objects to the for example, the Danish Muhammad cartoons we posted, or other similar stuff. Anyway, despots don't have a sense of humor, and editorial cartoons have a lot more power around the rest of the world than they do in America, where we can kind of think of editorial cartoons as a trivial thing and an afterthought. Around the rest of the world, editorial cartoonists are the most important voices in their newspapers. You know, you go to Egypt and look at probably 25 newspapers in Cairo on the stands, and most of them have a color editorial cartoon on the front page. The editorial cartoonist is the star of the paper. Different environment. So I think if you think of it from a worldwide perspective, we're probably one of the most likely things that you would expect to be suffering hacker attacks. Kaggle.com is kind of a face of American editorial cartooning to the world, and a lot of the world does not have tolerance of editorial cartoons. So, long answer to your short question, Ginger and Juice. The hacker attacks continue, but so far our most recent mitigation efforts are helping. We were getting... Oh, I should put a good word for one service. We started using this service called Cloudflare, which does a good job of blocking the DNS, the domain name server based attacks. We were getting these attacks called Sin Flood. And what the Sin Flood attacks are is you get these computers all over the world that send a request, and then, which is, I guess, called SYN, and then our server responds with what they call ACK, which is the response. Now that you've pinged us, make your response, and then the computer that sent the request doesn't respond to the request for the response, and that leaves the server hanging, waiting for them to respond. And so when they send thousands of these at once, that bit of time hanging, waiting for a response, overloads the server, and the answer to that is to have this service that looks at all of the domain name requests, all of these little sins that come in, and blocks them more efficiently. You know, a couple such requests, and then that IP address is blocked, or, you know, comes from a suspicious place, that address is blocked. It's just very aggressive at blocking these DNS requests. And so I have to put in a good word for Cloudflare, because they seem to be very good at dealing with that particular class of hacks that was giving us the most recent trouble. We have, of course, a lot of different particular services that we use, like Cloudflare, that add up to be quite an expense. When the hackers do break through and get into the system, yeah, Cloudflare, Hyper. Yeah, I'm giving a good review of Cloudflare, which has done which handles your domain name service, and has done an excellent job for us recently with the SYN flood attacks. And apparently the stuff that Cloudflare does is stuff that our hosting company does not. So, although the hosting company certainly sells us a heck of a lot of hacker attack services. The domain name service was one that they didn't recently, and so I'm giving a good review to Cloudflare. Oh, Hyper, you do cybersecurity. Well, very good. Well, these hackers, I think, are state actors. Before we started getting these hacker attacks at that time I mentioned Sony, we got the same kind of hacker attacks that everybody gets. They come generally from China, and they're people searching for credit card numbers, or they want to inject viruses that'll send you to their phishing sites. And we had all that, and that's the kind of stuff that most websites get and most cybersecurity people are used to dealing with. That's the kind of stuff that our server company was used to. But the nature of the attacks we get in particular now that are unrelenting are much more massive and sophisticated than that, like 10,000 times more. And I think the goal is just to make it so difficult to serve the site that we might give up. Ransomware is big now, yeah. Well, we do have good backups, and there have been times that the hackers have gotten through and have erased our hard disk on our server. We don't have celebrity emails like Sony, and we don't keep credit card information online. We destroy that after each sale. So Tiny Wampa, will the finished cartoon have color? Yes, I'm going to color it after this. Electric Violin says hello. Nice to see you, Electric Violin. Please come up and follow me. I'm really hurting for follows, and I haven't seen Electric Violin here before, so very nice to see you, and please come follow me. So, I'm talking about hackers. Hackers just involve too much of our time and expense. And they have made Kaggle.com into quite the money loser for us. It used to turn a profit back when we were partnered with MSNBC.com. And now it is a dependent, and a costly dependent. Oh, there's my Nightbot showing up. I'm guessing that means my tech guru Theo has noticed I was streaming and turned it on. I have not yet ventured to learn the ins and outs of Nightbot. Theo wants me to make a video with answers to frequently asked questions. And that's a good idea. I think he would probably put the link in Nightbot. He's given me lots of instructions for Nightbot that I have not quite incorporated into my workflow. I know it's a Twitch standard to Oh, Electric Violin says, I'm already followed. Phoebe told me to check you out. It said you're a grand master cartoonist. Oh, I love the kind words. And Phoebe is really just a brilliant artist. I love his line quality. I'm a big Phoebe fan. I like to see people draw. I like to see that there's a hand behind something and get to know how an artist thinks through his wrist. So Phoebe as well is a master. Give Phoebe my kind words. Very impressed with the Phoebe. No exclamation points in here. Ginger and Juice writes, I greatly respect and thank you for what you do. You're the epitome of freedom. Ha ha ha, epitome of freedom. I'm lucky to live in America where you can draw what you want as a cartoonist. And the world is a scary place for cartoonists now. And fortunately, I live in a place in the world which is probably the least scary place to be an editorial cartoonist. So, I'm just lucky. Okay, I think I'm gonna need some background texture to make these boxes pop. So nice to have figured out these technical issues and have the stream working today, huh? Yesterday it was pretty bad. I could tell people were frustrated and seeing their comments show up 5 minutes late. So this frequently asked questions video will have what kind of paper do you use? What kind of pencil do you use? Where do you get your ideas? How many cartoons do you draw a day? That's one question I get a lot. How many cartoons do you draw each day? Or I draw 2 or 3 a week. People think I should draw much faster than I do. I think I draw plenty fast. Electric Violin writes, how many elephants and donkeys have you drawn? I don't have an answer for that. No survey has been done. But I'd say probably maybe every 3rd or 4th cartoon has a elephant or a donkey in it. They are wonderful tools in the cartoonist toolkit. Cartoonists call things like that cliches. You would think that they would be something like standard metaphor or, another tool in the toolbox, but no, the standard word is cliches. So we have a palette of cliches we use, and the reason you use them is that you can say a lot without having to explain things. And of course the donkeys and elephants are quintessentially American, and they don't translate well around the world, and they contribute to the fact that editorial cartooning is not a universal language. I'm always seeing people come up with this idea. Editorial cartooning is a universal language. I see that all kinds of places, and it is not a universal language. Hyper writes, do you have any formal education in art? I studied for about 6 years under a Danish romantic illustrator, and I started my career thinking that I was going to do covers with clinching couples in front of sunsets and castles, and I moved to New York to be an illustrator like that, and I soon picked up Jim Henson's Muppets as a client, and they not only served as my graduate school, so I worked with them for about 15 years, but they turned me into completely a cartoonist rather than rather than being a catch-all guy who does everything illustration. So I went to, so basically my art education was studying under this illustrator, learning how to paint, and here I am. I color everything in Photoshop, and I don't paint like I used to. I used to paint all the time. I don't think I've painted a job in 3 or 4 years now. Times they change. And then I went to regular old college. I went to UC Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara City College. I'm gonna need to remember to move this up because that's looking a little bit low in his balloon. This one's going pretty fast. This is not a hard one to draw. The ones that take more time have more characters or something with perspective or caricatures. Caricatures slow me down. I'm not a natural caricature cartoonist. I approach caricatures more with patience. Get it wrong, do it again, repeat until correct. Which looks fine when you're looking at the final cartoon, and if I got it correct. And then you watch me streaming, and then you see how I struggle. Electric violin writes, maybe one day you should do a political painting and see if the juices still flow. I tell you, I'm thinking of taking on some commercial work again, and to the extent that I can, I would put that in the stream as well. I've been doing pretty much exclusively editorial cartoons for quite a few years, and I miss the variety, and I miss the better paycheck. So what'll happen when I finish this, which will still be quite a while when I finish the drawing, is that I'll take a short break and scan it, and then do the color in Photoshop, and I will stream doing the color. Color will take about an hour and a half. Well, very nice to hear that the feed is saying nice things about me. I appreciate that. We've got 15 people watching, which is very nice. I appreciate you guys. Although in regard to my proof of concept and trying to get other editorial cartoonists to do this, I think 15 people is not going to motivate other editorial cartoonists to do this. they're going to want to tell their editors, look at this cool thing I can do. And the editor's going to look at 15 people and say, huh. Electric Violin writes, I think it's good to see some more mature artists stream. Teach the young bloods how it's done. I don't know. See if the young bloods still think I'm relevant. I look at the demographic stats for Kaggle.com, and it is truly shocking how elderly and male our readership is. Elderly, male, and affluent. Far out of what you expect a normal internet audience to look like. And also a change for us because, all those years I was getting a bunch of traffic flow from MSN.com, from either Slate when I was with Slate and MSN, or MSNBC. 7 years I was with MSNBC. And the traffic flow from them, which was brisk, was normal. Had a normal breakdown of men versus women, had a normal kind of age breakdown. And now that their traffic flow has stopped, and the people that go to Kaggle.com are just dyed-in-the-wool editorial cartoon fans, rather than flow of general audience, I get affluent elderly males. The website is, visitors are 77% male. I think that's astounding. Why the hell? Nailmakers, do you accept cartoon ideas? Every once in a while, somebody will give me a cute idea, and I'll write a little thank you to so-and-so in the corner. Maybe 3 times a year. The problem with people sending in cartoon ideas is casual readers tend to not know things that are trite in cartoons that have been done many times before, and they think of a trite idea, which is a good idea, and they don't know that it's trite. Another thing that I get is people who think in words and don't think in images. So they'll say something like, draw this army, and it's approaching another army, and then they're fighting, and then the sky is filled with helicopters. And not only are crowd scenes a hassle to draw, but they make lousy cartoons. One of the reasons I got tired of being an advertising illustrator is that a very large percentage of the jobs that would come to me were crowd scenes. And Not only are there those lousy cartoons, but they're not stuff that I want to draw. And what happens is, of course, you have a boardroom of people deciding what they want their campaign to be, and then too many people have too many things that they want included in the campaign. It starts to get ludicrous, and they say, oh, that sounds like a cartoon. Let's have it be a crazy jumble of all of those things, and then we'll fit it all in. What a great idea. Call the cartoonist who does the crowd scenes. Anyway, that's what reader-submitted ideas are like. And then you get the stuff from the conservatives. I hate Hillary so much. I got this great idea. Why don't you draw Hillary looking like Hitler? Ha 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 ha. Hey, nail makers, did you follow me? I do appreciate the follows. And I haven't seen you here before. And I gave you a very big answer to your question. And I do need more follows. Not sure I like his hair. Let me erase that and start over. Oh, thank you very much for following Nail Makers. I appreciate that. You should get the little zombie. Oh, unless you did it before. Electric Violin writes, I find Phoebe streamers, YouTubers, get more viewers the more detailed the piece or visually stunning, but the stream will grow with time. Well, I've got 234 followers. It's just taken longer than I would like. I look at some of these other streams with artists that I think are not very strong, and they've got hundreds of people watching. I don't necessarily see a correlation between the artists that I think are best and the largest audiences for them. Also, streaming is kind of challenging, particularly for artists, I think, since we tend to be on Macs and all the streaming software, the OBS and the apps and things are all designed for people on PCs. Running Windows. We had quite a time trying to figure out how to get this done, buying cameras that work on PCs and not on a Mac. The OBS software that I use to do the streaming is the Mac version is not nearly as good as the PC version. And then you go online and you try to look at these videos that tell you how to do things, and they're all telling you how to do things in Windows version of OBS and not the Mac version, because there are just so few people that use the Mac version. The Electric Violin writes, different demographics, my friend. Yes! And I find that the people that come here, of course, are the people who browse around Twitch Creative, since I'm not getting them to come over from that nice feed on Kaggle.com. Go look at Kaggle.com now. And look at how nice my pop-up window is over there. I've probably got 50 or 60 people that are browsing Kaggle.com right now for cartoons. But they don't stick with the pop-up and watch me stream. Different demographics is right. I think the whole notion of wanting to watch a stream of somebody doing something is something that younger people respond to, rather than that elderly male newspaper reader audience that I'm getting on Kaggle.com. So since we lost all of that, they call it the MSN fire hose, so we lost that audience. And we've had all of these downtimes from the hacker attacks on Kaggle.com. The audience there has dwindled. Ginger Juice writes, do you ever get tired of having to remain at the forefront of the political winds? Personally, I get tired of politics, of the drama. Tired of the drama. I checked out the pop-up window earlier and it works well. Does it only pop up while you're streaming? I tell you, I've got on and off buttons for the pop-up window, and I have to remember to turn it off. Sometimes I forget. But it should only be on while I'm streaming. We were thinking about rerunning old Daryl streaming on YouTube in the pop-up on Kaggle.com. Not sure we're going to do that. You know, you can see you can have an option to make that Kaggle.com pop-up never show up again. And so mixed feelings about running the repeats. Maybe I'll do it. The only difference with the repeats is that you can't chat. Most people don't chat anyway. Anyway, that was my marketing plan. The pop-up window on Kaggle.com was my marketing plan. And I thought the pop-up window was really pretty nice. Kind of pleased with the pop-up window. Ginger and Juice writes, it could be beneficial to drive Kaggle.com people to your stream even when you're not streaming. Well, yeah, that was the idea about showing the repeats. But, I'm not finding that the Kaggle.com audience is a streaming audience. But I'll probably do it. We'll figure out how to do the YouTube repeats there. Harder to do it with Twitch. Twitch has a function that'll allow you to run repeats on your stream, but you have to have like 1,000 people who watch each stream for them to enable that. They're stingy about some of their perks that they reserve for the most popular streamers, Twitch partnerships and such. So I have not impressed them enough to get them to do that for me. Although they're not unfriendly, they put me up on the Jumbotron sometimes in the creative section. Electric Violin writes, most older men might say no forever just to get rid of the pop-up. Yeah, I think you're right. That and the ad blocker might block it. Oh, because it's a pop-up. People just don't allow pop-ups. Well, like I said, soon we're gonna get rid of the ads altogether on Kaggle.com. We've got a new mobile-friendly design that should be coming out soon. That was very difficult for us to develop because it had to deal with the higher traffic there and the constant hacker attacks. I think I'm not liking his hair. Come on, pencil with an eraser. I erase so much I use up the erasers. Ginger Juice writes, I have Ad Blocker Plus and uBlock, and the window still pops up. Good! That's my tech guy Theo doing his job. Don't let those ad blockers block my pop-up. That's what I like to see. I'm just trying to give him hair that makes him look a little bit more establishment, should I say. This is the establishment Republican. I think I should give him pinstripes. Don't know. So that rebroadcasting to YouTube, that was my lag problem. And I wouldn't have guessed that. So I kind of liked Restream.io. Seemed like a great idea, but I can't make it work. See, you watch my my stream and you get product reviews. Great product review for Cloudflare, lousy product review for Restream. Bear Edwards writes, you know, you can't resist the siren call of pinstriping the suit. You're starting to get to know me. If I pinstripe the suit, I may be able to send this out as line art. Ronald Reagan here, huh, nail makers? Everybody says they like Ronald Reagan. My son went to California State University at Channel Islands, which used to be a giant mental hospital in Camarillo, California. When I was a kid, just the mention of the word Camarillo meant mentally ill. And Ronald Reagan, when he was governor, pretty much shut down the mental health system. And he closed Camarillo Mental Hospital. It became State University. And now we have homeless people all over the streets here in Santa Barbara, which we didn't have when I was a kid because there was a mental health network available for them that Ronald Reagan got rid of. So, since I'm sitting here giving reviews, I give you my review of Ronald Reagan. Also, Ronald Reagan's son, Michael Reagan, is a pundit, and I syndicate Michael Reagan's columns to newspapers. And I rather like Michael Reagan. I disagree with him, but he's just a charming guy. Ronald Reagan also, at the time, signed the most liberal abortion rules into law in California of any state in the nation at that time. Something that I liked. He's a mixed bag. Okay, you can have a little bit of background muck over here because I've kind of got a blank spot. Just a little bit of credit in the air. Ginger and Juice, you are funny. So, electric violin. You think I should have music in the stream, huh? Why don't you just turn on your own Spotify? You can have the music you like in my stream. Play it softly enough that my dulcet voice comes through. Bear Edwards writes, yeah, the current GOP wouldn't have Reagan in policy reality, although they worship him in theory. Yeah, they like him in theory. He did lots of things that would drive modern Republicans crazy. He was a pragmatist. I think that's what they fear most about Donald Trump. That he'll do something like Reagan and say, yeah, let's have milk price subsidies. Let's subsidize the whole dairy industry like Reagan did. That's too transactional. You know, I've got such a big, wide area of body going on with nothing in it that I think I am going to have to take the bait and do the pinstripes. Put it off just a little bit. Electric violin. You don't like the electric violin writes, yeah, the audio cuts when you don't make noise can be jarring to the ears at times. I can turn that off, but you're going to hear a white noise hiss in the background, which is largely the fan on my computer. I haven't figured out how to get rid of that. But I think it's even more annoying not to have the threshold on the mic than to have the threshold on the mic. I can turn it off and you'll say, oh, I don't like that constant hiss. So everything's a compromise, huh? I think the solution to the where do I put politicalcartoons.com is put it over here and put my darylcagle.com over here. I do that as, oh, hello, Diaz Mata, lurking and enjoying your work, you write. Oh, well, that's very nice. I don't like the lurking, though. I like for people to be chatty. Gives me something to talk about. Motion lines. Electric Violin writes, it's a compromise, but the hiss is there when you do make noise. Yeah, I can let you hear what it's like without the threshold if you want. Here, I'll turn off the noise gate. Okay, now the noise gate is off. You can hear the fan hiss constantly. And tell me if that's better. Noise gate off or on? Noise gate is off now. D.S. Mata writes, being Canadian, it's hard for me to discuss American politics, but I may have art questions. I have noticed that most of the questions here tend to be art questions. It's much more of a how-to environment than a talk politics environment here on Twitch Creative. I guess that's to be expected, considering I'm the only editorial cartoonist. Bear Edwards writes, may have missed it, but have you drawn anything lately concerning my favorite obstructionist dillweed, Mitch McConnell? Not recently. I have drawn him in the past, but not often. He's one of the guys that you know if you watch the news and you don't know if you don't watch the news. So draw a Mitch McConnell cartoon and you get email from high school kids. Who's that? Explain your cartoon. One thing I've thought about doing is editing the drawings down to about 20 minutes and making them into a podcast. So when there's nothing interesting being said, it would fast forward and you'd see me drawing very fast up to the point where the cartoon is done. Now, I'm not aware of other podcasts where people do that. Then I would put it in the traditional podcast kind of spots. I'd have a little theme ready to go that my rocker son did for me. Bear Edwards writes, "Ha, I'm a native Kentuckian, so he's an infuriating embarrassment to me." The Holler Gaming writes, "Wow, you're on Twitch?" Well, I am. Are you an editorial cartoon fan, Holler Gaming? Sounds to me like you're a gamer. Holler Gaming writes, "I've been following your stuff for years. I was an editorial cartoonist in college." Well, hey, that's great. Unless you've been following my stuff for years because you can't stand it because I'm such a stinking liberal. I get some of that. I have been doing this quite a few years, and you know, kids study editorial cartoons in school, and you know, the most common email I get is, "Dear Mr. Cagle, please explain the cartoon to me. My paper is due tomorrow." And editorial cartoons are on state-mandated testing in 8th and 11th grade for AP Social Studies tests. And teachers like to teach to the test, so you get editorial cartoons as homework. And I meet people who say, "Oh, I had to do you for homework." I did a speaking tour in India, which was very interesting. And I would give talks at colleges, and then invariably there'd be a group of girls. I don't know why girls, but girls would come up at the end and say, "Oh, Mr. Cagle, your cartoons are in our high school textbooks. We had to study you." And that was in India. That was all over India. And they were all smiles. "We studied you all through high school." That's kind of fun. Don't know why India. Other places in the world where I have done speaking tours, I have not had people come up and say they studied me in high school. But India, I guess they do, which is kind of fun. Electric Violin writes, "How does it feel to be a textbook example?" Well, just keeping in mind I have to not let my head swell too much, because the only reason these kids are looking at my cartoons is because they're forced to, because it's homework. I sell lots of cartoons from, you know, we have this other site called politicalcartoons.com, and I get lots of sales from textbook companies and educational testing services that are writing the tests for the high school, junior high school kids. Our best customers. I'm going to do the pinstripes. Holler Gaming writes, "Haha, I'm a fan. I've done a little film work with Matt Boers and Joel Pett. Film work. Okay. Pinstripes. Do I want to commit to the pinstripes? I think I do, because I have to deal with this. And I can put cross hatches in it, but do I want to do that? Pinstripes or no pinstripes? I gotta decide. I haven't quite decided yet. Well, I'll postpone that decision for a few minutes and I'll draw some crosshatch on here. Face pen. You're a new name that I haven't seen here before. I need for you to go follow me. I'm hurting for follows. I've only had one follow in this whole cartoon, so Face pen. Come follow me. So Facepen writes, I've always wanted to do political cartoons and such, but my style is very Bruce Timm-like. I like Bruce Timm. He did the Batman show. Clean, sharp lines. Any advice on building textures and shadows with lots of lines? I don't think it's necessary that you be cross-hatchy if you're an editorial cartoonist. There are different styles. There are minimalist cartoonists. Holler Gaming just mentioned Matt Boers and Joel Pett. Neither of them are cross-hatchers. There's a wonderful variety of styles in editorial cartoons. And we've got one cartoonist, Randall Enos, who was a cartoonist I grew up with for years when I was a high school kid in the 70s. He was drawing for National Lampoon. He'd do a strip called Chicken Guts, and he draws with an X-Acto knife in a piece of linoleum block print, and a piece of linoleum block, and then he prints it. He rubs it with the roller, and he prints it. So he had to draw everything backwards, and how bizarre, and his work is really different looking. And I find that I got to do pinstripes. I find that the editors are resistant to other styles. The Bruce Timm kind of style might be something they resist, but I love the diversity in styles that we get now in editorial cartoons that we didn't get in the 70s when people were all kind of trying to look like Jeff McNally. So, That Man Walker writes, so you really think reverse psychology is happening with Trump? I do. I think people don't like being told what to do, and they're voting against the establishment, and it's the establishment that tells them what to do, and they don't like it. Facepen writes, I followed, don't know why it hasn't showed up, but digging this piece, great work. And Bear Edwards writes, I miss National Lampoon. Bear Edwards, do you remember Randall Enos in the old National Lampoon in the 70s? And Chicken Guts in their cartoon section? I just thought he was wonderful. And so he's with the group that I syndicate, and he draws very non-traditional cartoons, and he is just as far to the left as it's possible to go, and I think that's part of the very distinctive look. I think that's part of the problem with editors, is that they are not welcoming of diverse styles. I have this, my theory is, I call it the Jeff McNally scale, is your drawing can look more like Jeff McNally did it or less like Jeff McNally did it. And the more it looks like Jeff McNally did it, the more editors like it. The less, if you've got a minimalist kind of Joel Pett style, or style that is tight and not looking like a Jeff McNally drawing, like a Matt Boers, it's just because you mentioned those guys. I think they're tougher sales just because their distinctive look is not the distinctive look that editors seem to demand. That said, neither is my style, which people tend to ascribe as like Jack Davis, which is a compliment. I'm a big Jack Davis fan. Pinstripe. Yeah, if you're interested, go to kegelcartoons.com. You can see all of the cartoonists in my newspaper syndication package, and you'll see the great diversity of styles. I don't want to have two cartoonists in the group whose work looks like each other. Electric Violin writes, editors like what they think sells easy. Bear Edwards writes, is Tom Towles still cartooning? Yes, he is. He's the cartoonist for the Washington Post. Editors like cartoons that cause the least trouble, the fewest complaints, the fewest letters to the editor, the fewest old ladies threatening to cancel their subscription. Editors are chicken. Yeah, we've got 20 people watching it. That's a good crowd for Twitch. And it's nice to have some conversation today. If you're joining me late, we had some trouble on our recent streams with it running slow and lagging, and people getting frustrated that they're 4 minutes behind on chat and spinning wheel. And so now I'm not restreaming also to YouTube, and I think that made all the difference. Also, now I've turned off my threshold on my microphone, which I used to have on consistently, so you're getting a white hiss in the background and you're going to hear every pencil stroke. And I may just turn that threshold back on unless you guys say I should keep it off. Only one of you was chatting about threshold being an issue. I'm forgetting who that was. And I turned it off. Pinstripe suit. Face Pen writes, do you always use just a standard yellow pencil? Well, this isn't quite standard. It's a hard pencil. Typical yellow pencil is a 2B, which is a soft pencil, and this is probably a 2H. And then I also intersperse it with this Statler Mars pencil, which is a 4H. So electric violin, yeah, it was you. You like it better off. You like that background hiss and hear the pencil scraping? Actually, that when I'm talking a lot, I can see more point in turning that off because I know it can be jarring to hear the background white noise stop. But if I'm going to be quiet for a while, kind of nice to have some clean quiet. Today I'm extra chatty. Well, I tell you, when I watch other people's streams, electric violin, I don't hear as much talking as I would like. I don't really care to hear somebody work silently. I would like to have them develop this kind of Popeye, constantly mumbling business, because you want to hear them. Does feel like Popeye. Vin for nails. You agree? Keep the white hiss sound up and don't turn on that threshold. Alright. Is that what you're agreeing with? Electric violin writes, also, how do you get such dark lines with a 4H? Oh, the secret to that is having the right kind of paper. The paper I use is the Duraline Vellum, which you can get in any major art store. They won't have it at Michael's or Holly Hobby, but they'll have it at any real art store. And it makes for a lovely looking original too. I like that the difference between this and a ink drawing of a cartoon is you know, sometimes with ink drawings I can't tell if it's a copy. But with this, you can feel the lines, you can see the light reflect on it differently and know that it's an original drawing. And I like the look of the paper, and I like that the lines are a little bit gray. And you know, it's a good reason not to draw your cartoon entirely on the Cintiq. You get this nice original, and sometimes I sell originals. I would hate to not have originals. And I put all of this effort into developing a comfort with the pencil that I don't have when I use the Wacom stylus. And I notice that with other cartoonists when they make a transition to drawing on a Cintiq, because they want to get their work done faster with less effort. And there's a kind of a simple, quick line quality that they pick up a little bit that I think is not as attractive as dragging a real piece of paper over the pencil over a real piece of paper. Face Pen writes, is this 11 by 17? Yes, it is. But the paper that I did my rough sketch on the back is 11 by 14. So you can buy a pad of Duraline paper at the art store, 14 by 17. That's all you need. Electric violin writes, perfect lines lose life. Yeah, they have different pens, and you're supposed to be able to get your thicks and thins on the Wacom tablet, and I think even despite that, it takes some of the intensity and quality out of it that I don't want to sacrifice. Okay, I'm going to grab a piece of bond paper here because I don't want to smear through the lines that I've already drawn. And I know that obscures some of this for you, so my apologies, but you know, I have to be on the inside of the arc as I draw these pinstripes. So maybe I should get one of those little white gloves. Anyway, what I usually do is just grab a piece of paper when I have to go back over a place where my hand is going to be rubbing in a dark spot. So back to your original question. No, it's not quite a standard office yellow pencil. It's hard, and most people like those number 2 pencils like you used to take a test in high school. This is a 2H rather than a 2B. There was one of you who had me pegged for, yeah, he knew he was going to do the pinstripe suit. I think of a pinstripe suit as more definitive when you're drawing a pig in a suit like a Wall Street character. Electric Violin writes, the smudge is a different kind of muck to deal with. Yes, I deal with politics muck and graphite muck. And I get this black on the side of my hand, and I'll go out at the end of the day, and people will wonder, what the hell is up with you? Also, cartoonists tend to develop a callus somewhere from drawing over and over in the same position. And my callus is here, this spot on my little finger here. Big drawing lump. Try that next time you meet a cartoonist. Say, show me your drawing lump. Bear Edwards writes, how about a studio video tour one of these days, popular on YouTube? I could show you a photo of my studio if you want. That's one of those frequently asked questions that I was going to do. So it comes up, where are you sitting? What does it look like? So I'll pull up a photo for you. Let me grab it here. Facepen writes, are you a fan of The Lion King? And my lump is on my middle right finger. I get a lump here too, but it's not quite as big a lump as the one on my little finger, which is a big, nasty looking bunion kind of lump. Okay. See if I can bring that up. So we'll give him some underarm shadow. Okay. Let's see, here I can show you that's my studio, and so this is this little area that you're seeing where I draw. This is the camera that's pointing down at the table. This is my notorious microphone that gives you the hiss that you don't like. Up here is the camera that shoots at my face, and these lights with paper on the front of them are lighting up the blue screen behind me and lighting up the table. So over here is where I see your chat comments, and over here I have the window showing me the stream, because I don't want to downstream over here because it takes too much computing power to stream on the same computer where I'm going to be streaming out. So that's that. You see the studio. It's not a big space. I'm kind of scrunched in and I draw in a little spot, but that's because that's what works for this. And I can show you some other stuff. Oh, that was interesting. These are some examples of of the kind of stuff I did as an illustrator. I did lots of I'm not even showing this on the screen. I'm telling you about the studio, and I have it set up wrong. There you go. There you can see the studio. Anyway, it's just tiny, and everything is in a little scale because it's all close on my face or close on the tabletop. And this is that's the tabletop. That's the mistake that I made before. I didn't want to do that. And over here you can see some of my old illustration stuff. Stuff from my Muppet years. I did lots of comics stuff. I did lots of giveaways. This was a giveaway at McDonald's. Here, the Oral-B Muppet toothbrushes. This was a magazine cover. I did lots of magazine covers like these back in the old days. Just this is my pre-editorial cartoonist stuff. This is a typical magazine illustration that I'm doing in the way that I do editorial cartoons. So this was for an article about Botox, my happy face and my sad face. So I do this, and then I add color in Photoshop, and then it runs in the magazine with the gutter right through the middle of her nose. And so more of this kind of stuff. This was a video game box for a Game Boy game that I did that I've forgotten about entirely with other people's characters. This is a toy line that I licensed to Hasbro Kenner that let me take a little time off from illustrating because it paid well, and I started doing a comic, a syndicated comic. This is my syndicated comic from back in the 90s. True, it was True Facts, and this is what I did that led to my becoming an editorial cartoonist, because one of the papers that subscribed to True called me up. They were in Hawaii, and they said, "Hey, Daryl, how would you like to be an editorial cartoonist?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do that." And so I kind of fell into it by doing this True cartoon. And now this is the kind of stuff I do. Stuff you're familiar with. Putin reconstituting the old USSR. Anyway, back to the task at hand. So let's finish this thing. I'm getting pretty close to being finished. And then I will take a little break to scan, because scanning does not fit into the streaming very elegantly. So I'll be gone for about 15 minutes when I finish this, and then I shall return and spend about another hour and a half coloring it. Bear Edwards writes, "Do I detect some Will Elder in your style?" Yeah, why not? But nah, usually it's people talking about Jack Davis in my style. I'm gonna try doing some more freelance ad or editorial work. You may see me deviate in the stream once in a while and draw an ad. This is one of those particularly good talking heads on TV days. I'll turn the talking heads back on while I scan. Well, now the question is, am I done? I think I'm done. All right, I'm going to set the clock for 15 minutes. Scan this puppy. And today it is a puppy. And then I will be back at the end of the 15 minutes to clean it up and do the color. So don't go away. I will be right back. Know that as I'm away, I'm just scanning this in 3 parts in my cheap little scanner. So give me a few minutes and I shall return. Hi folks, I'm having trouble with my scanner, so I'm going to have to reboot my computer, which means the stream is going to come down and come back up. So my apologies for that, but do join me again in a few minutes when I am successful in getting this thing scanned. My apologies for having to drop out, but hey, the computer has got to reboot. I'm sorry about that.